Okay, real quickly, we're going to talk about some common exponent errors and what causes them and why they're incorrect. So first off, let's look at 4 to the third power. That, of course, means 4 times 4 times 4, which is 4 times 4 is 16 times 4 is 64. A common error that happens is people will say this is 12. Well, what did they do? They obviously just did 4 times 3. This is different. If we wanted to say 4 times 3, I would just say 4 times 3. 4 times 3 does not equal 4 to the third. These are two separate things. If I wanted to say this, I would, but I said this. 4 to the third is 4 times 4 times 4. Okay, let's look at this one. This is 4 to the third times 2 to the second power. A lot of times I'll get something like this, 8 to the fifth. Sometimes I will get something like 4 to the fifth, or I will get something like 2 to the fifth. Essentially what we're doing here is multiplying 4 times 2 to get 8, and 3 plus 2 is 5. That's not right. Here we're just picking one of the bases and then adding the exponent. That's another thing. Here we just picked the other base and added the exponents. What is this really? Really, this is 4 to the third, which is 4 times 4 times 4. And then it's times 2 squared, which is 2 times 2. So we have 64 times 2 times 2, which is 256. When this guy is 32,768, this guy is 1024, this guy is just 32. So you can see that none of these values are actually this. 4 to the third times 2 squared is different than these numbers. I can't just use this. You can see why it's different. This is 3 4s that I'm multiplying, and this is 2 2s that I'm multiplying, and then I'm going to multiply those two numbers. I can't just combine them randomly like this. That'll give me a different value. So in the end, this is as simplified as it gets in terms of exponents. This is 4 to the third. This is a different base. These are completely different things. That means there's 3 4s. This is 2 to the second. That's a completely different base. It means there are 2 2s. So you need to do this guy and this guy, and then you can multiply those two things together to get the answer. For something like this, you might say that this is 4 to the fifth. But be careful, what is the biggest difference here? The biggest difference is this plus. This is 4 to the third, which is 4 times 4 times 4. This is 4 squared, which is 4 times 4. And we're adding those two things. That is very, very different from 4 to the fifth. 4 to the third we know is 64. 4 squared we know is 16. When we add those two things together, we get 80. If we were to do 4 to the fifth, as we know from up here, that is 1024. Those two things do not equal each other. This is adding. I would have to do this exponent and then this exponent and then add those two things. That's very different than if I were to be multiplying for the 4 to the third times 4 squared. That's 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. That would all be multiplying. Of course, that is 4 to the fifth. But if we're adding, it is something very different.